This is Camnet TV main news today, Friday, the 28th of June in the year 2024. We take a look at the headlines. Government clarifies controversial VIET-ZAM investment deal. 9 PF MPs parliament participation challenged. MISA ZAMBIA urged media to promote democracy and unity. And in international news this evening, new wave of excavations in Gaza amid intensified bombing. And in sports news, Copper Queens intensify training ahead of Paris Olympics. These and many more stories after the break.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP are promoting irrigation and water harvesting as the solution to challenges posed by climate change. Watch our 13-week series as we unfold the solutions for our crops. Catch us every Monday at 20:40 hours, repeats every Tuesday at 19:10.
With the Camnet TV main news, my name is Tapelo Joe Smarter. Mongu Central Area Member of Parliament Oliver Mutike has underscored the government's commitment to improving the healthcare sector and ensuring high-quality healthcare services nationwide. He said this following the completion of a maternity annex and mortuary at Namushekendi Health Center. Funded by the 2023 Constituency Development Fund (CDF) at a cost of 2.5 million kwacha, government has installed the first ever mortuary and maternity annex at the facility. More in the following report.
Since independence, people in Namushekendi area, which is more than 700 kilometers away from Mongu Central Business District, have been experiencing a challenge after losing their beloved ones. Since the main hospital had no mortuary and expected mothers used to travel long distances to access medical services due to lack of a maternity annex at the facility. And the government, through the Constituency Development Fund, has come to their aid by constructing the two facilities at a cost of more than 2.5 million kwacha from the 2023 Constituency Development Fund. After inspecting the two facilities, Mongu Central Member of Parliament Oliver Mutike says the government is working towards improving health services to enhance quality health delivery across the country.
And it's very clear that this hospital needs urgent attention from government. So we want to appeal to Minister of Health to allocate resources so that we can upgrade this hospital. There was no mortuary here, but through CDF we have now built a mortuary. That's what your government is doing, bringing services, bringing development closer to the community.
And some health workers who disclosed that the clinic had no proper health structures are excited with the new development.
Two challenges which we are facing as health workers at the facility. There is an issue of water recirculation. The infrastructure was built way back 50 years ago. So most of the pipes are blocked, especially the pipes bring water inside. If you can be helped with those issues like major renovations of the facility, as well as the VIP toilets, we don't have any.
Yes, I feel it's a very wonderful thing for us to be given a maternity wing, first ever. Again, I may say so. As you can see, we only have the old infrastructure which was placed as the OPD department since independence, which has been blown off by the winds during the rain season. So that
Meanwhile, Namushekendi Ward Councillor and some community members had this to say.
For the New Dawn government to give us these facilities here in Namshakende, it's about 25 kilometers from here to Mongo, where our beloved departed members of our families, we used to take them to Mongo, which was too costly for the community.
Muso wazizentwe tunahulu manelo aitumela kakuli irwezelize musebezo mutunahulu halusa nyanda kuisa kwa Mungu.
Musibo Kabira, Camnet News in Mongo District, Western Province.
Back in Lusaka at Parliament building, where government has dismissed claims that it has approved a $72 billion United States investment proposal by VIET-ZAM Diversified Corporation Limited for rice production in Luapula, Northern and Muchinga provinces. In a ministerial statement before Parliament, Commerce, Trade and Industry Minister Chipoka Mlenga clarified that the Zambia Development Agency, ZDA, lacks the legal authority to allocate any amount of land, including the purported 6 million hectares mentioned. Mlenga explained that 6 million hectares was only a proposal and no final decision has been made on it. He explains that government has not endorsed any of the other requests put forward by the company. He emphasized that government is cognizant of the risks involved in allocating such large swaths of land to a single investor.
Was not in any way an approval to grant 6 million hectares of land. Neither was it granted. Mr. Speaker, I must emphasize here that ZDA has no legal mandate to allocate land of any size, let alone the purported 6 million hectares that we are talking about. It was a proposal to which a final conclusion has not been reached, Mr. Speaker. There is no agreement that has been signed, neither has government approved any of the other requests that the company was making. Government is well aware of the risks associated with allocating such huge tracts of land to a single investor, and hence the guidance to the investor to consider applying for a parcel of land, small parcel of land. I wish to reiterate that there was no pronouncement on the part of government to confirm such an allocation of such a huge tract of land or any amount of land for that matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude my statement, I wish to indicate there has been increased interest to invest in Zambia from both the local and foreign investors. Consequently, we have been receiving a lot of investment requests, and our role through the Zambia Development Agency, which is an act of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, is to receive these proposals and assess their sustainability.
And in court news, the Lusaka Magistrate Court has heard how popular pastor John Nundwe, also known as John General's belongings, comprising underwear, a pair of trousers, a phone, and car keys were found in the house of a Matero woman he allegedly raped. A state witness, Shadrack Muntu, not his real name, testified that husband of the victim informed him that he found his wife allegedly engaged in sexual activity with the accused inside their marital residence. Mr. Muntu also identified all the clothes, shoes, blanket, bloodstain, and the car before court. In November 2023, police arrested John General for allegedly raping a Matero woman who was seeking prayers to make her stop having miscarriages every time she gets pregnant. More in this report.
Flanked by his followers, renowned pastor John Nundwe, popularly known as John General, appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court Friday morning for a charge of rape, an offense he denied committing. Opening trial before Lusaka Magistrate Ami Masuja, state witness narrated how John General's belongings, including an underwear, a pair of trousers, a phone, and car keys, were found at the house of a Matero woman he allegedly raped last year. The traditional leader, Shadrack Muntu, not his real name, also told the court that together with the victim's husband and others, they found a black cape written BMW, a belt, a half shoe, a blue t-shirt and a grey short in a pile allegedly belonging to Mr. John General. Mr. Muntu narrates that on November 22, 2023, while in town, he received a call from his son around 11 hours informing him that the victim's husband was at his house to discuss a certain matter. He testifies that the victim's husband told him that he had found his wife having sex with Pastor John General in his matrimonial home and told him to go there to see for himself. Mr. Muntu tells the court that between 17 hours and 18 hours in the company of others, he visited the victim's house, found a car allegedly belonging to one John General. Later, after being led to the bedroom by the victim's husband, he found clothes and shoes which belonged to Mr. John General. And when the said belongings were presented before the court, the witness identified them, including the bloodstain on some materials, before court. He says few days after the incident, John General allegedly sent an apostle and 2 elders to make an appointment with him and the victim's husband to resolve the matter, as the accused could not visit for fear of being attacked. But when asked in cross-examination by lawyers representing the accused if the only person who mentioned the issue of rape was the victim's husband, the witness agreed. Earlier, the state asked the court to hear the matter in camera, but John General's lawyer, Sokonia Daka, objected to the state's application, citing failure to advance any reasons for the application. However, the state insisted that having the matter in camera would protect the interest of the victims involved. However, the court ruled that the application will be considered once the victim is before it. In this matter, Miracle Impact Ministries International Overseer, Pastor John General, is facing 1 count of rape contrary to Section 132 and 133 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. Magistrate Amima Soja has adjourned the matter to August 1st, 2024 for continuation of trial. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
In political news, Information and Media Minister Cornelius Muetwa has asked for guidance from Second Deputy Speaker Moses Moyo regarding the eligibility of 9 Opposition Patriotic Front members of Parliament to participate in parliamentary proceedings. Speaking in Parliament when he rose on a point of order, Mr. Muetwa pointed out that according to the Constitution, a seat becomes vacant if a member is expelled from their political party. He noted that the PF leadership had officially informed the National Assembly about the expulsion of these members, and none of them had contested the expulsion in court. Mr. Muetwa sought clarification on whether the 9 MPs were allowed to engage in parliamentary activities despite being expelled from the party they represented. In response, Mr. Moyo said he will study the matter and render his ruling at an appropriate time.
In the following terms, that Mr. Speaker, from about December 6th, when the expulsion was communicated about these 9 members of Parliament.
Court. At the same time, the parties involved await the judgment of the main matter before the Lusaka High Court, but one awaits what this move will result in on the political scene. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Federation of Free Trade Unions in Zambia has urged unions and labor groups to collaborate in organizing a meeting to draft a proposal advocating for government subsidies for solar energy in the country. Union Secretary General Nelson Mwale highlighted that ongoing energy crisis has caused a decline in production across many industries, potentially resulting in job layoffs. Mr. Mwale stressed the necessity for government subsidize solar energy to facilitate efficient operation of industries and safeguard employment opportunities. More in the following report.
Zambia's major industries include copper mining and processing, construction, emerald mining, beverages, food, textiles, and chemical productions. Load shedding forces such industries to find alternative power sources such as generators, which can be expensive to operate and maintain. The additional cost of fuel or alternative power options adds to the manufacturing expenses, impacting profit margins. It is for this reason the Federation of Free Trade Unions is calling on the Zambian Association of Manufacturers, National Farmers Union, and other stakeholders to work together and formulate a concept note to government on the need to subsidize solar energy in the country. Speaking to Camnet News, FFTUZ Secretary General Nelson Mwale says if stakeholders from various sectors come together, they will be able to formulate a comprehensive proposal that will address all sectors.
To call upon the following stakeholders: the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, the Zambia National Farmers Union, the Small Scale Farmers Union, Zambia Federation of Employers, the labor movement, and indeed the other necessary stakeholders to come together and call upon the government of the Republic of Zambia to subsidize solar energy. You realize that almost all industries where our workers are depend on electricity energy. And so with the electricity crisis that we have no choice but to look at how solar energy can be subsidized.
Mr. Mwale adds that workers risk losing their jobs due to the electricity crisis, as most industries are not producing at 100%.
We risk having a number of people losing employment because a number of these industries depend on electricity for their day-to-day activities leading into production. And so we are calling upon the said stakeholders. We come up with an endeavor so that collectively we ask government to subsidize solar energy to a level of closer to 50% if our industries are to exist, if our industries are to survive. Otherwise, the way things are moving, we'll have a crisis where all areas will be affected. Eventually, a number of our workers may be retrenched.
President Hakainde Hichilema has in the last few months reaffirmed the strides government is making to ensure investors invest in the country's solar energy sector as a significant step in addressing the energy shortfall.
Whoever generates power here can send it to a customer there. In between here, there's a ZESCO transmission line. ZESCO is now obligated to carry that power. Before, ZESCO had a choice to carry that power or not. That choice has been taken away from ZESCO. They have to carry that power.
Cherish Sivote. For Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA Zambia, has stressed the importance of empowering the media to produce content that supports democracy and unity. Speaking at a panel discussion on the role of the media in promoting democracy, MISA chairperson Lorraine Mwanza emphasized the need for the media to serve as a watchdog for democracy and produce issue-based content that promotes peace and unity. Meanwhile, Freeze Kopsika highlighted the need for a counterweight in society, which the media has a responsibility to provide. The discussion comes as Zambia prepares for general elections, and the media's role in promoting democratic values and responsible reporting takes center stage.
The media serves as the watchdog of democracy, a platform for healthy debate, and a channel for issuing-based political content. However, When we allow content to be published that contains information that threatens the unity and peace of our country, we are allowing those with evil intentions to misuse the true role of the media. Our mission today is therefore to empower the media on how we can produce sound content that supports democracy and unity whilst providing a platform for political parties and candidates and the public to express themselves. We aim to provide all journalists present with the necessary knowledge and tools they need to identify and avoid publishing content that threatens the democracy of peace in Zambia.
This role of the press as the fourth estate is very clearly stating that a counterweight in society is needed against political parties and politicians striving for power. So there is a need for a counterweight, an accepted need for a counterweight, and media organizations are seen to have the responsibility to provide such a counterweight.
Young Men Christian Association YMCA of Zambia says the high rate of youth unemployment is negatively impacting the country's economic well-being. Speaking during the launch of YMCA's 2024 to 2028 strategic plan, YMCA President Reverend Vincent Chira underscored the need for continued collaboration to create more jobs, opportunities and support entrepreneurial efforts among the youth despite ongoing improvements in vocational training and education. And speaking at the same event, guest of honor Kangwachileshe, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts, affirmed that the ministry would fully support the strategic plan's implementation, working together to build a brighter future for Zambia's youth. More in this report.
The Young Men's Christian Association of Zambia, YMCA, has launched a 5-year strategic plan for the association that is aimed at promoting and empowering young people through education, community participation, and recreation activities such as sports. Speaking at the launch, YMCA President Reverend Vincent Chira says stakeholders must work together with government ministries to empower youths as the country still has many young people struggling to find meaningful employment. Reverend Chira highlights that the launch strategic plan is a commitment to overcoming obstacles and making positive difference in the lives of young people.
Of youth unemployment, where we have many strides in providing vocational training and educational opportunities, many young people still struggle to find meaningful employment. This is not only this does not only affect their economic well-being, but also their sense of purpose and self-worth. We need to continue working together to create more job opportunities and support entrepreneurial endeavors among the youth. This is very key to us as YMC.
And Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts, Kangwachileshe, says the plan is timely and addresses the key challenges the youths are facing, embracing government's pronouncements for the youths.
Much of the YMCA Zambia strategic plan today is very much timely in that it addresses the key challenges the youth are facing and embracing all government pronouncements on youth. This comprehensive plan demonstrates YMCA Zambia's commitment to addressing the life-threatening issues that our youth face. By focusing on strategic alignment and targeting interventions, this plan will undoubtedly help resolve some, if not most, of the pressing challenges our young population encounters. A hand of applause to YMCA.
And Lusaka YMCA Youth Chairperson Daliso Mawelela says the youths are ready to work in line with the plan with support from relevant stakeholders.
Being mobilized to come here to see this instrument being launched, we are extremely grateful. The NGS recognize the hard work that you are putting to compile this work, and we are going to support you 100% in its implementation. The President, sir, recognize the effort and will be there to fully support and will be loud, but will fully support. And to the ministry, we definitely will push them to be at your door, so that we can also harness the opportunities that will come with this instrument.
Cherish Siwote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Former Chilanga Town Council Secretary Maumbi Mubanga has been convicted to 12 months of simple imprisonment for the corrupt acquisition of property. The Anti-Corruption Commission Head of Corporate Communications, Timothy Mono, says the convict on January 27, 2020, being a public officer, fraudulently diverted to her property in Chalala area for her personal use 20,060 kilograms of crushed stones valued at 3,300 kwacha that were intended for maintenance at Chilanga Civic Center, an act which was prejudicial to the interest of the government of the Republic of Zambia. Mr. Mono says the sentence is with effect from the 27th of June 2024. In addition, a statutory judgment against the convict in the sum of 3,300 kwacha was made by the presiding magistrate. That particular story takes us to our first set of commercials, but do join us for international and sports news when we come back. Do stay tuned.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP are promoting irrigation and water harvesting as the solution to challenges posed by climate change. Watch our 13-week series as we unfold the solutions for our crops. Catch us every Monday at 2040 hours, repeats every Tuesday at 1910.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. And now in international news. Palestinians fled from areas in Gaza City on Thursday following an Israeli evacuation order and intensified bombing. The Israeli military issued new evacuation orders for neighborhoods heavily targeted and largely emptied earlier in the conflict, including Shiajia and surrounding areas. First responders from Gaza Civil Defense, part of the Hamas-run government, reported that airstrikes hit 5 homes, resulting in at least 3 deaths and 6 injuries. Rescuers continue to dig through the rubble in search of survivors. Here is a roundup of international news.
Palestinians fled from areas in Gaza City on Thursday after an Israeli evacuation order and heavy bombing. The Israeli military has ordered new evacuations from neighborhoods that were heavily targeted and largely emptied early in the war. The latest order applies to Shijaya and other neighborhoods. Missiles reached us, and here we fled. Their matters and houses were struck on top of their owners. We do not know where to go. I swear we do not know where to go. First responders with Gaza Civil Defense, which is part of the Hamas-run government, said airstrikes hit 5 homes, killing at least 3 people and wounding another 6. It said rescuers were still digging through the rubble for survivors. They started calling us and asked us to evacuate from East Al-Tufa and East Al-Shijaya, and as you can see, we left there, and there were people trapped, unable to leave. The matters from the morning were thrown away. Hundreds of thousands of people have remained in the north, even as Israeli troops have surrounded and largely isolated it. Kenyan police on Thursday clashed with protesters in Nairobi before planned protests against a contentious finance bill, despite the president's decision not to sign it after the plan sparked deadly chaos in the capital and saw protesters storming and burning part of the parliament building. Police on Thursday hurled tear gas canisters at a group of protesters attempting to congregate within the central business district.
We currently have a president who is not a president. This president, William Samoei Ruto, is following his orders, not the constitution. The constitution states very well that the government is the rule of the people, by the people, and for the people. And now we're going to change Kenya to be the rule of the youths.
The military has been patrolling the city despite a Wednesday court order that suspended their deployment to support police during the protests. Protesters who said last week they would march to the State House on Thursday say they still don't trust President William Ruto, who has said the tax hikes would be withdrawn and budget cut would be made. Major roads leading to key government buildings have been blocked. Mauritanians head to the polls on Saturday in an election which shines a spotlight on the country's deep divisions as incumbent President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani seeks a second term amid a regional security crisis and ongoing allegations of human rights abuses taking place in the country. His main opposition is Biram Da'abait, a black anti-slavery activist who has accused him of gross mismanagement of the country. Slavery is a central question in Mauritania given the prevalence of slavery and its presence given the status of slavery in society, the status of a slave, the status of a free man, and especially the status of the men who hold these slaves. It's ingrained in Mauritanian values, which is why slavery continues to plague Mauritania. Mauritania is no stranger to human rights abuse accusations, as it was the last country in the world to abolish slavery in 1981. But the practice continues. The population is hungry. The population is thirsty. Unemployment has ruined the youth. This is why the youth has emigrated in the thousands or tens of thousands. Abaid himself was descended from slaves. His grandmother was a slave until her death.
And finally, in sports news this evening, the Copper Queens in intensive training for the upcoming 2024 Olympic Paris Games. The team convened at Hero Stadium recently to prepare for the possible friendly matches leading up to the Olympics. Coach Bruce Mwape stressed the importance of having a balanced and versatile squad. Mwape expressed contentment with the team's development and their strong desire to participate in competitive matches. He highlighted the necessity of enhancing the midfield prior to the Olympic Games.
Need to be given time to look at some of these players, those that are new and those who went for meter training since they are back. But we've got quite a good number of players who are in camp. Right now, as I'm speaking, we've got about 31 players who are in camp minus the professionals. The professionals who are yet to join the team, they are about 5. I'm sure by the time they will be joining the team, we will be somewhere in France doing our final touches. But the few days they've been with the players. Yesterday we had a friendly game against the men's side, and all we wanted in that friendly match was to see the level of fitness of our players. I think some of the areas that we need, in fact it's one area where we need to actually work hard to improve, is actually the midfield. And if we polish up the midfield, because the last 2 games that we played against Morocco and Ghana, we actually identified that we still need to work hard in midfield. So that is one area where we want to concentrate more. In fact, for us to be in that group, it means we are almost at the same level. So even the players, they've got now that experience, and I'm sure they don't even concentrate on listening to what people are saying or what they want. All what we want is just to focus on the games. And as far as I'm concerned, going back to the Olympic, this time around we need to improve on our performance, because last time it was, we can say it was the first time, but this is the second time, and most of the players have got enough experience to withstand any pressure.
And that sporting item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news today, Friday, the 28th of June in the year 2024. But before we go, a recap of stories that made headlines. Government clarifies controversial VIET-ZAM investment deal. 9 PF MPs parliament participation challenged. MISA Zambia urged media to promote democracy and unity. New wave of evacuations in Gaza amid intensified bombing. Copper Queens intensify training ahead of Paris Olympics. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of Mark 12, verse 24, and it reads, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." We end this main news edition on that note. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is Tapelo Joe Smarter. Good evening and God bless.